Field note 130.5. Subject sees himself in a mirror. Clarity comes unexpectedly.
It's not just the answers, not just the quotes. It's life in the margins. It's time for CluffsNotes. So there was this moment late in 2002 when we had got back from the Czech Republic. The girls had gone with us. It was just an incredible experience. My heart was full. But after I was back, I realized I still couldn't do it. I had just come off one of these high points of my spiritual and relational life. This mission trip that had been full of connection and meaning and purpose. And when I came back, I was just realizing the same patterns were waiting, the same searches, the same aches I couldn't distract away. And that's when I hit what I would now call the bottom. I just realized there's no end. It's not ever going to get better. That perspectives screenplay moment where that quiet internal devastation, where I started to think and wonder, is it better if people only know the part of me they already love? I wasn't trying to be dramatic. It was just helplessness is what it was. That even at my best, I still hated who I was, or at least what I wanted or needed. So then unexpectedly, in January 2003, Michael entered my world. And at the time, honestly, I thought this was some answer to prayer. That suddenly I had this best friend who helped me make sense of things. There was nothing about a romantic relationship that either of us were seeking. I truly believed he might be what I needed to be that good and faithful husband. Somebody that could hold my story without judgment. Someone I could be completely honest with. Oh, and those initial conversations, just hours and hours at lunch, walls coming down. I talked about my past, my abuse. He talked about his past, his abuse. We talked about our families, our connections, our communities, our fears, our loves. The parallels in our worlds were just incredible. And I was in awe of this beautiful human. Something in that mutual recognition cracked open a friendship that was unlike anything I knew. And at first I thought, this is it. This is what I've been praying for. I fell in love with someone who helped me to honestly fall in love with myself. I loved Michael immediately. I'll say that. The minute I saw him, everything about him just stirred something in me. A protectiveness, a pride. I could look at him and think, he's so worthy of love. And that was, I think, the first time I could see it in myself. There was this wild moment in my past. So my abuse, remember, started when I was little, came to light when I was in Roseburg. And when it all came out and he was arrested, I thought it was dealt with, right? In my young brain, it was like, all right, I've talked about it, everyone knows, whatever, it's over. 8 or 9 years later, I was driving, I think, and I heard some story on the radio. It was about a young boy who had been sexually abused and some of the details of his youth. I just remember this empathy for this boy, like this sadness for his innocence lost. And it was in that moment, like it hit me. Todd, that's you. I had never looked at my loss that way. I had never felt for myself what I was feeling for this little boy. And I realized as I could see him, I could see me. And that's what I think happened with Michael. Is as I saw him, as I saw his goodness, his hurt, his history, as I loved him, I could finally love myself. Not because he made me gay, but because he made me just stop blaming the itch. I don't see myself as broken. And that, more than anything, was actually the start of some hard grief. I realized this does not fit this life that I built. Not with Laverne, not with my promises, and definitely not without consequences. Consequences I feared to my bones. What impact would it have to the girls? What would it have to Laverne? I just wanted to be this rock in their world. And what was going to happen with this truth that I'm coming to realize about myself? I remember telling Michael, because we were best friends, I said, you need to run. I can see where this is going to be going for me, and I do not want this to have any negative reflection on anyone. But I just knew I was not going to go back to pretending. And that's why this episode is called A Damned Old Itch. Because that damned old itch, like any good anagram, can be rearranged into something beautiful. This wasn't the breakthrough. It was the unearthing. It was that moment when nothing could stay buried anymore. So here's your nudge. What part of your story, if any, are you still keeping buried? And maybe not even because it's bad, but you're just worried about what impact it may have on others. And those fears are real. I just hope that you have someone or someplace that you can hold that story with and be that for others out there. All right, Preschool Papa here. Hey, big humans. So here's your reminder. Little humans can carry heavy things too. Don't treat their pain like it's smaller or their truths as though they're less important because they're young. Be the kind of big human who fuels their world for the better. Be a safe place when they have storms in their world. Because they just don't know. Another reel for the shelf.
Field note 10801. Helplessness diminishing. Understanding and clarity forming.